I know that this might sound very crazy to you right now, but if your life is in shambles, then that's good. Take it from me because 2, 3 years ago, I was at my absolute lowest, but little did I know then that this point would lead me to my breakthroughs. So I want to remind you that your breakthrough might be just around the corner right now, but it's under one very important circumstance, and that is that you need to allow yourself to see that breakthrough coming. And this is absolutely not to say that whatever you are going through right now is supposed to feel easy, but it's also not to say that whatever you are going through right now is supposed to last forever, because it doesn't have to. See, the thing is, we as a society have this very weird conditioning that each time when something goes wrong in our path, that means that our life is doomed. I can't tell you the reason why it happens, but it is fascinating that we prefer to run towards something like a bad scenario rather than see the good and the positives in our situation. And this is not forced happiness, by the way. It's just that we can and absolutely should see the good and bad. At the end of the day, certain things break for a reason, and you might not see that reason just yet, but soon you will find out and you will understand why certain things happened the way they happened. This is actually what happened to me, because when I was at my lowest, I would spiral into victim mentality over and over again, and I would always ask why me. I would trauma dump people hoping that they would feel bad for me, and at the time it just felt easier to complain and blame my circumstances on external things rather than take ownership of my own life and what I can do with whatever is happening, acting like a main character essentially. And listen, don't take it the wrong way, it's not victim blaming or me telling you to suppress your feelings and never feel bad again, because it's absolutely essential to let it all out and sit through uncomfortable feelings because they make you human. But what makes it 10 times harder to actually move forward from failures and situations that are upsetting is reinforcing that negative pattern and the negative narrative that things have to stay that exact way, telling yourself that you are unlucky, that you are unworthy, undeserving, not enough, when none of this is actually true. All of this is absolute BS. But you need to believe it yourself first, because I can tell you so many things and I can uplift you as much as I want, but if you don't believe it, then who else will? Breakdowns lead to breakthroughs, and that's a very beautiful thing. And instead of spiraling and reinforcing those bad thoughts, think to yourself, okay, what I can do to make this better? What do I need right now to calm myself down? Do I need to step away from things? Do I need to change the way I look at things? Do I need to speak to someone maybe? Do I need to seek help? Honestly, for best effect, I recommend journaling all of this out, because then when you journal, you can really get into depths of whatever is bothering you and whatever is blocking you. Because in fact, really often it's all in our heads. I mean, think about it. When you are overwhelmed with everything that is going through and it's all stuck up here, then no wonder why it all feels like it's crumbling and going down. So do yourself a favor and do a little deep clean of your mind. Let it all out on the paper physically, or even scream it out if you can, because that way you're gonna really get the clarity. Sometimes our minds are really clouded with all the negative bias that we have, and we even subconsciously reinforce those negative patterns without even realizing it. Apart from that, I think another thing that is really important is tracking your progress and rewarding yourself for it. It will remind you of how much work you've done so far, because it's really easy to fall into this trap of completely forgetting and dismissing every single progress that you made, and especially small wins, because we think that small wins are not that important, but actually they build over time and they compound. So it's absolutely essential to pay attention to them and reward yourself for them and celebrate them, especially when you notice that you've been through so much and yet you are still standing and still working and showing up. Because otherwise you're gonna trap yourself into this way of thinking that you are not doing enough even though you are doing well, but you're not gonna see it because you're gonna be so focused on the fact that you are lacking something or you're not achieving something or things are difficult, because we are refusing to even acknowledge what you've done in the first place. So tracking your progress counts so much more and goes way deeper than you might think. Also, find techniques that will help you calm down. So it can be anything, whatever works for you, because there's so many methods out there and some of them may work for you and some of them may not. But I think the main ones that are really worth trying out are meditating, journaling, like I mentioned before, breathing exercises, yoga in the morning, Pilates, moving your body in general. Because sometimes when we have all of this anxious buildup, our bodies tense, and the way we respond to things is through that survival mode. It's through that survival thinking. So our brain is looking out for threats almost 24/7, and everything that feels like a failure or maybe like something is going the way that we didn't expect it to go, all of that is even harder to take and it's even heavier than it would be normally. So do yourself a favor and move your body and release all of that tension. It's actually very true that our bodies, they carry trauma. Like our muscles, for example, they genuinely carry trauma, and sometimes you might have pain because of the trauma. It can be literally in your shoulders, in your back. It's something that is much harder to release because you need to acknowledge it first and work it through and then let it go. But that's why you should pay attention to those mindful techniques, because people say that they are cringe or it's just for the aesthetics, but actually when you do it over time, they work wonders, and you need to allow that time for them to work. At first, it might be really difficult, especially if you've never done it, but over time you will get used to it and it will really help you. So do yourself that favor and try at least one of the things that I suggested and see how they work out for you. But overall, the conclusion of this video is just for you to remember that your breakthrough might be literally just around the corner and you are doing so much better than you might think. Whatever you are going through right now will not last forever, and it's in your hands to actually ensure that it doesn't, because trust me, we can very easily fall into this trap of just reinforcing that negative pattern and narrative constantly without even realizing it. So it's really important that you address it and you start trying to see things that maybe you're just grateful for, or maybe just simply make you happy. Maybe there's something that happened that actually made your day, and soon enough you will realize that all of this that you went through actually made sense and added into your journey. There are lessons that you need to learn, and they show up in so many different ways, and sometimes they are harsh, but they are very valuable regardless. You are very strong and you deserve every single success that you are dreaming of, and I really want you to remember that every day. I hope that this little video was helpful to you and you found some reassurance or motivation. Let me know what you thought, and also if you want to see some more deep dives and guides, make sure to check out my podcast Main Character Frequency, and make sure to connect with me on my other socials. Everything will be in the description, and also make sure to check out my other videos. You might find something else that you will find helpful. Other than that, I will see you in the next one, and I really hope you liked it. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.